Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Noland, and what a week it has been for Black Sabbath fans, right? But you know what? It's been quite a year for Black Sabbath, them drawing as much ink in the press as some of the world's most popular bands that are out currently touring. First of all, this time last year, we got Ozzy Osbourne's Patient Number 9, a wonderful album. But it wasn't long after that album was released, we started getting news items regarding his health and whether he'd ever be able to tour again. Now that was followed not too much longer by him announcing that he was going to actually do some touring in the summer of 2023. Then we got more news that he would headline this or that festival, and that was followed by a quick letdown stating that he could not tour due to his health, and so he was going to have to let his fans down regarding them seeing him live. Now, this was followed immediately by a book by Black Sabbath's bass player and lyricist Geezer Butler, a tell-all affair, evidently. I haven't had a chance to read it, but some of the stuff that was in that book really set Ozzy's teeth on edge, and we got an interview in which he said that not once during all of this current health crisis that he's going through has he ever heard from Geezer Butler. And he even went on to state that he had even heard from Bill Ward, and that was after him cutting Bill Ward down a few years ago for his health, and that somehow they had made it work for the two of them. Now that was followed immediately by a retort from Geezer Butler saying, no, that's totally not true. I tried to get a hold of him several times, a couple which evidently he can prove that he did, and somehow right around that time in the interview, he found the need to say that both him and Ozzy had married very strong women. Now, keep in mind that in 2021, Bill Ward clearly admitted he could not tour with Black Sabbath anymore due to his health, but he was all up for recording a brand new Black Sabbath album. So all of this, you see how it's going here? There's some old wounds that seem to be healing here, right, folks? And then what do we hear from? Ah, yes, that star from that classic TV series, Ozzy and Scariot, Sharon Osbourne, is making the news, ranting and raving why Ozzy Osbourne isn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo artist. All of that leads me to question, is Sharon Osbourne Black Sabbath's Yoko Ono? All right, so first of all, when I say that Sharon Osbourne just might well be Black Sabbath's Yoko Ono, I mean it both in a good way and a bad way. First of all, let's take a look at Yoko Ono. John Lennon needed a strong woman. Matter of fact, he said Yoko was him in drag. You know, every bit his equal. He needed a strong life partner. And for John Lennon and his happiness, it was a great love story. All right? No problems with Yoko Ono there. But Yoko Ono, although I do not think she broke up the Beatles, she was a source of contention being in the studio when it was an understanding among all the Beatles, girlfriends and wives stayed at home. And of course, all of that culminated with her having a bed rolled into Abbey Road Studios while the Beatles were recording, with a microphone hung over her head just in case she had anything to say. But the breakup of the Beatles was well on its way far before Yoko Ono ever entered the picture. Now, as a fan, I often felt that there was way too much Yoko on John's albums, and I think that's where he really missed a partnership with Paul. Paul could really have a way with fleshing out his ideas. Now on to Sharon Osbourne. Sharon wasn't even around when Black Sabbath was still going. She was sent by Daddy, who had his claws into Ozzy, to go and take care of Ozzy, to see to his every needs. Of course, this quickly turned into a romance, and from that point on, Ozzy as a package came with Sharon, much in the way that John Lennon as a package came with Yoko. Now, like I said, there's good and there's bad to this. Sharon was the salvation for Ozzy in many, many ways. He was searching for the other half of him that was missing, that could handle the details that this half of him were incapable of. And it worked wonderfully. And I agree with Sharon that Ozzy should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo artist. It's long overdue. Let's insert him right between LL Cool J and Missy Elliott. How does that sound, Sharon? Because you know what? Sharon is also part of the freaking Hollywood crowd that I complain about, that seems to be just permeating rock and roll these days. Name a sit-on-the-couch interview type of show that she hasn't been on, and it's all to propagate not her loving husband so much as her product. And I think Ozzy has become more her product than her hubby these days. Case in point, let's go back to 2021 when Bill Ward said that he was capable of recording a brand new Black Sabbath album, and that he even looked forward to that possibility. And ever since he said that, fans have been kind of waiting. One more fantastic album by the true Black Sabbath. But the other members evidently were not in a place where they were ready to do that, except that recently we see a lot of wounds being healed here. After all, I think it's good for Ozzy to know that Geezer does care for the man and that he was there in his hour of need. In Ozzy's own interview, he tells us of a similar kind of wound being healed between him and Bill Ward. But then this is what I'm talking about. Then we get Sharon Osbourne redirecting all of our attention right back to Ozzy Osbourne's solo career, which has been a great career. I'm not cutting the man down for that. I just want one more Black Sabbath album. Then they could tour that even if Bill Ward wasn't there. Get Jason Bonham in there. He's good at unleaded Led Zeppelin concerts. Let's call this the Unblacked Sabbath concert. But he would be drumming Bill Ward's parts, and Bill Ward just put them on that proposed Black Sabbath album. But you know, in my opinion, it's always been Sharon, much like Yoko, that has been responsible for their husbands not recontacting older members from the old tribe. But this is what I'm talking about. There's always the powers that be, and sometimes the hidden powers that be do it right out in front of everybody, and they're not so hidden. This band gave us so much, and if there is ever to be a bookend album for them in their career, it's got to happen now. Instead, we have Ozzy recording yet another solo album, and I'm looking forward to that. But that material, some of that material with Geezer working on the lyrics and everything, and Bill Ward giving his direction from the percussive element, and Tony Iommi completely placing his stamp on that material, adding a couple, taking a few off, and there's the album I want to hear. What about you folks? And by the way, if you enjoyed tonight's video, give it a thumbs up. But my question to the tribe is this: what do you think of Sharon Osbourne? Is she a hero or is she a villain? Or, as most truths lie, is she somewhere in between? All right, I'm Michael Noland. This is The Bottom Line, and I'll see you guys in my next video. But I want to hear from you, all right? I want to hear from you in the comments, because it's there where we show that we are the tribe.